Going on, everyone? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you're at and whenever you're watching this. Today we're going to be jumping back into the SCP universe again with the Exploring series as our guide. As we're going to check out the Serpents Hand, which is I guess another one of the factions of the SCP universe. I know very little about the Serpent Hand. It was mentioned in the Dr. Bright video as one of the family members joined the Serpent's Hand, and I guess it kind of sounds like they're kind of I don't know necessarily the opposite of the SCP Foundation, but I guess their goal is to I guess let humanity know about the paranormal and the anomalous stuff that's going on in the world, but I guess they can just simply be aware of it and that it is real. So we're gonna check it out. So yeah, links will be down below in the description to the original video and the Exploring series channel. So you do me a favor and click those links, check out his stuff, check out his content. He makes a lot of great content for the SCP universe as well as others. And if you like this video of his, then give it a like, please. He definitely deserves the love and support. Normally I'm doing these reactions live for YouTube members. If you'd like to come in and hang out and join in the discussions when we do these reactions live, we'd love to hear your input and come in and hang out and join the conversations. There's a join button down below the video as well as in the description. So if you want to check out the YouTube membership benefit tiers that I offer and other various benefits, check those out. If you want to take your support to the next level, we greatly appreciate it. But regardless, thank you very much for just coming in here, hanging out and watching the video. So with all that said, shameless plugs done. We're just going to jump into this. So again, this is the Exploring series, the Serpent's Hand. So check it out.
The Serpent's Hand. From human rights activists to civil rights activists to animal rights activists, our world is filled with people fighting and advocating for the rights of all sorts of things.
True.
It stands to reason then that in a world such as the SCP
yeah.
universe filled with anomalies, there are going to be individuals fighting for the rights of the anomalous.
Because yeah, I mean, you could definitely see that. Like some people who have anomalous properties that are somewhat still, you know, benign and harmless, you know, they still have to be contained because they don't want the world to know about them. So they don't necessarily get to live a normal life. I guess they probably get to live as normal life as possible with, you know, I guess maybe minimal containment. They can probably wander around the SCP facilities and interact with various people there and probably have certain things provided to them, computers and, you know, whatever else, books, food, etc., but they can't really go and explore the outside world and travel around freely. You know what I mean? I guess maybe they could probably do some supervised, you know, field trips, if you want to call it that, depending. But so I could understand why, you know, there could potentially be a group like this that, yeah, wants to advocate for the rights in certain conditions for some SCPs to just be able to live their lives normally, not be contained, but at the same time, you also have SCPs that are, you know, catastrophic world-ending or even universe-ending, you know, events and beings. So when it comes to that stuff, it's like, I don't know how much ground you really have to stand on. But anyway.
These people are known as the Serpent's Hand. Ultimately, the Serpent's Hand would like to see all of the anomalies that they deem to be non-dangerous out free.
Okay. So yeah, they're saying non-dangerous. So, I mean, as long as they have an understanding of, like, yeah, there are certain things that need to be contained regardless, then okay.
See all of the anomalies that they deem to be non-dangerous out free, with the public fully aware of their existence. And so this puts them at odds against groups like the Foundation and the GOC. Like many things in the SCP universe, the operations of the Serpent's Hand are fairly mysterious. But let's look at some of their beliefs and the work they've done. One of the few things we can say for certain about the Serpent's Hand, aside from their goal, is that they possess access to an extra-dimensional space known as the Wanderer's Library.
Interesting.
The Wanderer's Library is basically a massive repository of books, including practically every book that was ever written, books that haven't been written yet, and books that will never be written. If you can wrap your head around that.
Interesting. That is kind of a, like, brain fuckery concept. Like books, every book that has been written, every book that will be written, but also every book that will not be written. So the idea is like the concept of this could be a book on this subject that maybe in an alternate universe could have been written or may have been written in an alternate universe and it's here because of that. Or was it once an idea that never became written down into a book, but it's still, it appears there. So it's not only just things that have been created or will be created, things that have the potential to be created but have not been are still created here. Interesting.
The Serpents Hand do not own or run the library, they merely utilize it. And in fact, it's said that they only rediscovered the library in 1967, after being removed from it for some time.
I wonder if this is actually supposed to be the Library of Alexandria kind of a situation. You know what I mean? Like, what if the Library of Alexandria was actually some kind of SCP extra dimensional space that contained at that time, you know, all various knowledge, and some kind of ritual was done to protect it from actually being burned down and destroyed, and they sent it to some other kind of dimension, and now it's been rediscovered. That'd be an interesting SCP tale.
The library is staffed by individuals that apparently broke the rules of the library, such as not damaging books, not stealing books, and not harming anyone within the library.
Interesting.
The archivists are connected to the desks in the main hall, and they instinctively know how to find every book within the library. They also handle the distribution of library cards, checking books out, and keeping track of who has borrowed which book. They possess no eyes and no legs, as they are directly connected to their chairs.
Yikes.
Pages are the entities responsible for reshelving books in the library, possessing 6 to 10 arms, bowed legs, and squat bodies, making them excellent climbers. They spend most of their time climbing across the vast arrays of shelves located within the library. The docents act as library guides, taking visitors to find books, as well as acting as library security against both hostile intruders and rule violators. They have no mouths, and their left hand is replaced with a chain connected to an ever-burning lantern.
The fuck?
The library is apparently entered through the use of multi-dimensional portals called ways, although their nature and number is pretty much unknown. Many entities utilize the library for various...
This is a very trippy looking picture. Like, you're looking up, you're looking down, you know? This is upside down. I don't know. This is a trippy looking ass picture. Anyway.
Is pretty much unknown. Many entities utilize the library for various purposes, and the Serpent's Hand use it as a base of operations and general meeting place. Unlike many other groups within the SCP universe, the Serpent's Hand don't have a strict hierarchy or organization process. They function as more of a loose political movement than a proper organization, and so the group seems to be divided into a number of different smaller factions.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's gonna... It's interesting that there isn't, I guess, one person behind it. And that, yeah, it's kind of divided up into smaller, different factions. It almost sounds kind of like a terrorist organization, right? And there's just different cells that all combine to equal one, you know, organization. I don't know. Interesting.
With differing ideologies and methods. All it takes to be a part of the Serpent's Hand is to simply consider yourself one of the Serpent's Hand.
Oh.
There's likely no central leader to the entire group, merely leaders of different cells and factions.
I mean, you would think someone would have had to have founded the organization originally, right? But I guess maybe they just didn't want to, like, lead people. Interesting.
An individual known as M is one of them, as well as another that goes by the initials LS. LS's identity is up for debate, but a leading theory is that she is actually the Black Queen, a title for the daughter of Dr. Gears, a noted Foundation researcher.
Right.
The Black Queen is known to have access to the Wanderer's library and to hold a grudge against her father in the SCP Foundation.
Yeah, I think she's the daughter from the Bright family, if I remember correctly. Gears, I think, is one of the founding members, and he was kind of like the progenitor that led down, you know, through the family line kind of a thing.
Additionally, it's believed that there are thousands of Black Queens across thousands of universes, and a number of them use the library as a meeting place, referring to each other as little sisters.
Wouldn't that be weird, though, too? You find this library, and it's a, you know, a space between dimensions that other dimensions can converge in, and you start seeing versions of yourself, and then you start having conversations with yourself. But I don't know, that'd be weird.
Or LS. An SCP connected to LS is SCP-268, a newsboy cap that causes a wearer to become unnoticeable by anyone around them. The wearer is generally completely ignored, and observers will be unable to recall any specific details about the wearer. If the wearer speaks or interacts physically with an observer, they will be noticed, but soon forgotten again.
That would be quite the tool for any kind of thief or assassin, you know what I mean?
The effects seem to build upon a wearer, and if they wear it long enough, the effects strengthen and even linger after removing the hat. 268 was used in field operations by some Foundation agents, but after a while, everyone at the Foundation forgot the agent existed. That being said, it's certainly a useful anomaly for someone trying to go into places they don't belong. Unfortunately, the Foundation no longer possesses the SCP, as one day they discovered it missing, a note in its place reading, "Thanks, I needed my hat back. LS." There was also a label on the hat reading, "The garden is the Serpent's place," connecting it to the Serpent's Hand.
The garden is a serpent's place.
The Serpent's Hand...
I wonder if that also has a reference to, you know, the Garden of Eden kind of a thing. If they're, maybe they have access through the gate guardian to whatever is behind there, which I assume is, you know, Eden. Interesting.
Don't exactly get along with Hand. The Serpent's Hand don't exactly get along with most of the other paranormal groups acting in the SCP universe. They clash the most with the Global Occult Coalition, which they refer to as the Book Burners, due to the GOC's general policy of destroying the anomalous.
Yeah.
The GOC have apparently launched at least one raid on the Wanderer's library, destroying part of it, and the GOC considers every Serpent's Hand member to be a high-level threat. The Serpent's Hand get along a little better with the SCP Foundation, which they refer to as the Jailers, although that's not saying much. The Serpent's Hand are fundamentally against the Foundation's policy of secrecy, and definitely object to their treatment and containment of harmless anomalies, but they do acknowledge that not every anomaly should be free.
Right. And I mean, to an extent, I do kind of agree with that, right? I mean, like, if again, as I said at the beginning of the video, like, if someone has just some kind of very harmless, innocuous, you know, ability, like, maybe they can stretch their finger out a little longer, or, you know, something like that, turn water to wine, something that is just harmless, you know, that really cannot be used for evil purposes or something like that, and they're essentially forced to be to live in containment at a facility because of that. It's like, come on, man, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I feel like there's some kind of, I don't know, parole kind of situation you could do where it's like, hey man, you know, we're gonna slap this, you know, wristwatch on you. It's gonna look like a smartwatch. You can't take this off. It's gonna monitor you at any time. If you at any point in time, you know, use your anomalous ability in any kind of way that is not, I guess, potentially self-defense, you know what I mean? Like if your life is obviously threatened and you have some kind of anomalous ability that could save your life, you know, in those circumstances, maybe you could use it and then we could explain it off. But like, you know, otherwise, if you use your abilities in another way, we're going to send a mobile task force after you and it's not going to be good. Otherwise, you know, live your life normally. I feel like there could be, like, you know, grounds for that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But anyway.
They get along fairly well with Marshall, Carter, and Dark, the merchants, due to the...
See, that to me kind of surprises me because Marshall, Carter, and Dark, they kind of work in selling SCPs, you know? I mean, they're not necessarily containing them or I guess like enslaving them, but they're still, you know, in the business of selling things to the highest bidder. So I would still think that like they might object to that, but I guess, I don't know. I guess it depends on your viewpoint on certain things and what SCPs are being sold, as long as it's not like a living person or something like that, you know. I don't know.
Their willingness to obtain anomalies from both the Foundation and the GOC for the right price. That being said, they are still wary of them, as MC&D rarely make fair bargains.
True.
The Serpents Hand are more fascinated by the Church of the Broken God than anything else, but they are against the Chaos Insurgency, who they call the Madmen, due to the damage they've done to the library and their general hostility. The Serpents Hand generally believes that humanity is better off with full knowledge of the anomalous, so that they can better protect themselves from danger.
And I mean, there is a certain validity to that point of view, to that argument. It's like, you know, knowledge is power, and if you know, you don't have to be afraid of the unknown, and you can, you know, protect yourself. I mean, obviously, in the 3 Portland story, there are plenty of regular people that live and work in a city filled with the anomalous, ghosts and aliens and extra-dimensional beings, etc., and they all get along and work and have normal lives. So, I mean, obviously, people and things can coexist in the SCP universe. So,
it's not their stance that every anomaly should be left themselves from danger. It's not their stance that every anomaly should be left free and out in the open. So their beliefs are a bit more nuanced than, say, the GOC. In fact, there are cases where the Serpent's Hand have actually destroyed dangerous anomalies. SCP-407 was a song in an unidentified language sung by what seemed to be humans. Listeners of the song described it as soothing and beautiful, but while playing, 407 caused rapid cell generation in any life forms nearby. During the first minute, this only causes the subject to become much healthier, curing scarring, wounds, chronic diseases, brain and spinal cord injuries, and more.
Interesting.
During the second and third minutes, subjects begin experiencing unnecessary, unrestrained cell growth, as tumors and fat deposits begin covering their body. During the fourth minute, increased bacterial and fungal growth occurs, creating respiratory and digestive problems. Past 5 minutes, trace elements of plants or fungus, as well as any animal life present, begin to grow and replicate uncontrollably, often shaping into new organisms. Essentially, listening to the song causes life forms to erupt into plants and fungi, as well as new insect and animal life forms. Eventually, everything breaks down into a type of mold. The individual known as LS broke into Site-19 one day while wearing SCP-268, simply by walking in. LS seemingly broke in to utilize SCP-914 for an unknown purpose, but also managed to delete SCP-407 completely from the Foundation system. LS also left a note near SCP-914, and so I'll read it in its entirety to give some insight to the Serpent's Hand. Dear Sirs of the Foundation, behind guns and protocol you hide, desperately chaining the ineffable, yourselves stuck within your own self-wrought pitiful cages of fear and ignorance. You think yourselves the shepherd guarding the flocks of the unwise over the night, but you are so shaken by doubt and fear that in your bewildered arrogance you would vainly seek to chain the sun itself unto the heavens to hold back the daily night. The delivering angels themselves you contain with 3 digits and 4 walls. Do you not see the blindness with which you walk and swing your blade? On the final day, would you have us contain Black Surtur himself with measures and science, and condemn ourselves to rotten stagnancy as you hold back his pure cleansing fires.
But I'm assuming she's a reference to Ragnarok with Surtur destroying it as part of the cycle of life, you know, kind of an allegory to, you know, a forest needs to be burned down in order for new trees to grow, kind of a situation.
I do not ask you not to act, but act with enlightenment and heart. Neither should one be seduced by the dark, nor blinded by the light, but walk firmly in the twilight and gaze unto all realms. Walk the world of fire with bare feet, and you will find yourself without the scars you never knew you had. I leave you with one final truth. The garden is the serpent's place. The divinities of fear and order who come to walk in the cool evening air are only visitors. Do not fail to see the evil hiding in the light, nor the aromatic beauty of the palest flower of darkness. Signed sincerely, L.S.
Interesting.
P.S. You'll thank me for deleting what you call 407. Due to the fragmented nature of the Serpent's Hand, it can be difficult to definitively state the group's purpose and methods. Some factions of the Serpent's Hand are willing to work with the Foundation sometimes, while other groups are radical enough to cause end-of-the-world scenarios.
Right.
Some of them are willing to destroy dangerous anomalies, while many others in the group are anomalies themselves. In general, though, the spread of knowledge of the paranormal is either their most important goal, or at least secrecy is of no concern of theirs, fully willing to expose the paranormal to the public. Some care more about the unfortunate treatment of harmless, sapient anomalies and risk their lives in attempts to free them. Perhaps the world at large would indeed be better off knowing about the anomalous. Or perhaps the world would plunge into chaos. Either way, the members of the Serpent's Hand are determined to spread the word.
You are the monsters you are so afraid of. Let go of your fear and join us in the light. If you will not, if you keep imprisoning and killing innocents, if you keep forcing the world to stay in the dark, then you will meet the fate of all the slavers and murderers in the world's history before you. We will free those you keep imprisoned. We will rescue those you tried to kill. The garden is the serpent's place. We are the Serpent's Hand. So I'm wondering if they're just like referencing like the garden is the serpent's place. The garden is supposed to be Earth, you know, as opposed to what I was initially saying where, you know, are they talking about Eden? Or do they actually have access to Eden? Does the gate guardian let them in, essentially? You know, potentially, I guess it still could be, but I feel like it's more of a situation where they're saying the garden is the serpent's place, is actually just Earth. And I mean, like I said, I do personally agree with some of their viewpoints, you know. I do think that some very harmless, you know, anomalies that are at least like people who have anomalous abilities should be, I guess, potentially monitored, but allowed to live their lives normally, or as normally as they can under certain circumstances. And again, like I said, being monitored in certain ways so that they don't use their anomalous abilities. But I mean, I understand the whole idea of the Foundation is that they're trying to keep the paranormal and anomalous stuff a secret from the world. They're essentially trying to keep humanity in the world ignorant from this, with the idea of, you know, ignorance is bliss. The less you know, the better you'll be, you know, because, and to that extent, there is also some validity in that argument, because I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit in the SCP universe that if people knew, they would, you know, commit suicide or do all kinds of crazy, strange things and all kinds of cult worshiping. I mean, just look at what happens to Cthulhu on a regular basis. And, you know, Cthulhu is right now just a kid who's just, you know, trying to be a gamer dude, hanging out and just chilling on his computer. All kinds of wacky ass shit happens. But I mean, that's also part of, you know, Cthulhu's anomaly. But anyway, but this faction also sounds, it's interesting that there isn't kind of like one leader, I guess. But again, it also, like I'd said, it almost sounds like it's set up kind of like how certain terrorist organizations could be set up, where there's different cells. Each cell has essentially, though, like I almost kind of feel like it's analogous to like Hydra in, you know, the Marvel universe kind of stuff, where, you know, there's different factions of the Serpent's Hand, and each one, I guess, potentially has their own views and how extreme they're willing to take certain things. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if sometimes certain parts, the certain Serpent's Hand fight against other parts of them because, you know, maybe they're, again, trying, certain factions in the Serpent's Hand are trying to cause, you know, global catastrophic events because they feel like that's what's gonna enlighten humanity to what's really going on, but that isn't necessarily the way. So I would assume that some of them fight each other. They might even work with, you know, various other organizations to stop that. But yeah, very interesting overall. And the idea of that library, them having access to that alone potentially give them you know, a lot of power and knowledge that other organizations don't. And I think in it was even mentioned in the SCP 5000 video that there was like some kind of like kaiju subfaction of the Serpent's Hand that may have tried to like fight certain SCPs. So they might even have like certain magical and occult, you know, sections in the SCP that are able to fight and destroy SCPs, as it was stated here that, you know, LS had deleted one at one point in time. So interesting. Definitely something, another intriguing faction to learn more about. But like I said, I don't necessarily disagree with some of the viewpoints. And like I said, the three Portlands story, if that is, you know, considered canon, is proof that humans can coexist with anomalous creatures, aliens, etc. just fine. You know what I mean? So anyway, but that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Links will be down below in the description to the original video and to the Exploring Series channel. So if you do me a favor, click those links, check out the Exploring Series channel. He's got a lot of content for the SCP universe as well as others. If you like this video of his, then go over there and give this video of his a like. Definitely deserves love and support. We usually do these reactions live with our YouTube members. So if you want to come in and join the discussions when we do these reactions live, we'd love to have you guys come in here and join the discussions, give your input, your insight, your thoughts on what is going on, etc., and would love to have you, you know, answer some of the questions that I pose in real time as we're doing this, all that kind of stuff. If you'd like to do that, there's a join button down below the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefit tiers and whatnot that are offered. Check them out if you would like to, see if any of those would have any interest to you. If you decide you want to take your support to the next level and support me monetarily, regardless, thanks for just coming in and checking out the video, taking the time out of your busy to do so. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and subs. It helps me and it helps the channel grow. And yeah, thank you very much for just taking the time to do so. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll see you guys in the next one.